All the stories have been told of kings and days of old, but there's no England now. All the wars
Hey, everybody.
somehow don't seem to matter very much anymore.
It's good to have you here.
All the lies we were told.
Good to have you here on a Monday night. It's 6:59 and change, at least on my... Actually, no, I've seen my clocks are getting better over here. 6:59 and 58 seconds. 6:59, let's see, that's 7 o'clock. That's not 7 yet. All right, I'm only off by a couple of seconds now. At least it's not a disparity of 3 minutes or more. But welcome to the show. It is March 25th. It's a Monday night. It's Holy Week. Yesterday was Palm Sunday, and it was a good day over here. Interesting weekend as far as news goes. We're going to sprinkle a little bit of that into the mix here, but for the most part, it is going to be open lines tonight, and pretty much anything goes. I just want to hear what you guys talk. I want to hear theories about life, about the world, where it's all going. Where is it all going? What do you feel right now? I can't be we see the things that happen all around us. To say I feel in my gut something is wrong is kind of like, oh really? Wow, you're really you're really empathic there. You're amazing. You're so sensitive. You have superpowers. You can sense that things are all messed up. But man, oh man, fever pitch, the ebb and flow, man, we are flowing. I can feel, it almost feels like the drawback. You know that drawback at the beach right before a big wave comes in or before, a tsunami? It's just like the floor of the sea is laid bare for a little while. It just draws back. It's gaining energy and it's just going to come on in. Feels that way. I mean, we ended last week on the Russia terrorism note. By the way, we'll read a little bit about that after the intro. But one of the things I want you to call in with is putting everything aside, the fact that Russia has its secrets, we have our secrets, and that geopolitics is such a convoluted web of lies. What does it make you feel? How does it make you feel when you see a country like Russia take criminals, take murderers, take anybody that was associated with the scene of a major crime and brutalize them? But don't kill them, brutalize them. And you can see that they are being just knocked around. How does it make you feel? Because I got to say, 10, 12 years ago, I might have been like, you know what? What's this Yeah, perhaps they are barbarians, but we're better than that. Grab them, put them on trial, and then rightfully put them to death if we have to. But geez, we're better than that. When you've been deprived of even any modicum of self-respect as a nation, and you can see just how much we are being given the business by the people who are supposed to be protecting us and maintaining law and order. When you have gone through the last 10 to 12 years. Oh, I don't know. There's just something that makes me feel really rosy inside to see scum of the earth get the shit kicked out of them. Just the idea, like I said, just the idea, because how much do we know? Everybody is going to keep their cards close to the vest, and the people who know the least is always us. But just the presentation that we are being, we're being delivered right now. It's kind of like a breath of fresh air. It's like a relief to see any kind of criminal element get their shit kicked in. Anyway, that's a little bit of some of the opening thoughts I had. Just a couple little tidbits about just a little bit of and we have so much to do tonight. And it's really going to be dependent on you, though, because I want your calls. 914-200-0269. That's the all-purpose line. And if it starts getting really, really crazy, I'll open up the hotline, too, but we don't need it. We don't need it. Thank you to my sponsors, BlueMonsterPrep.com. Everybody's going nuts. And when I say everybody's going nuts, what the hell is with headlines like this? And we're going to talk more about this on Wednesday night. Wednesday night, I want to do a bunch of things. I want to do the rare disorder where people are seeing demon faces. You've seen those headlines just get shoved down everybody's throats over the last 48 hours? Seen it about 58,000 times. Rare disorder has people seeing faces turn to demons, like essentially reptilian faces. The meme reptilian faces, like the MS Paint reptilian face that we have been seeing on the internet for 25 years. So I don't know what's going on there. Is it just more of the sliding away of the veils of reality? Is it more revelation? What the hell is it? But then there's stuff like this. It has absolutely, I can't make any sense of it. So perhaps we bring somebody. I know we have Jeff Harmon coming on Eclipse Day. But we get things like this. Solar eclipse warnings leave officials on guard. I'm scared as hell. Newsweek. Several states are set to plunge into darkness during a total solar eclipse in April, with authorities warning of the dangers that residents could face as a result. One town supervisor said that he was scared as hell about the task facing his team covering mountain roads and neighborhoods in the North County of New York when the eclipse hits on the afternoon of Monday, April 8th. Now, aside from what's going on? What's happening here? Look who it is. What are you doing? Are you getting ready for bed?
Yeah, I came in here to say hi.
You came in here to say hi? Mm-hmm. Hold on a second. You're on my mouse hand. Here, come here. Come here. You big chooch.
Hello, everyone.
Say hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hey, what do you think is going to happen with this eclipse on April 8th?
I think it's going to move a cover of a song.
Oh, wait, what? Who told you about an eclipse? Who told you about this?
Mimi.
Mimi told you about the eclipse?
Mm-hmm.
Did you just hear that? I didn't know that I thought I was about to throw you a hook. So you know that the eclipse is coming? Mm-hmm. And the moon is going to go in front of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we have to go outside and check it out. Is that going to be fun?
No.
No, it's not going to be fun?
Yes, it is.
Okay, it's going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
Did you buy any non-perishable food?
No.
Okay, did you buy any water filtration products?
No.
Okay, did you buy any poopy face?
No.
Did you buy any dog poop?
No.
Okay. All right, tell everybody something that's on your mind before you go and get ready for bed.
Nothing.
Nothing's on your mind?
Yes.
Okay, what's on your mind?
I'm going to take a shower and a bath.
And then what?
Then I'm going to get out and just fall to sleep.
Fall asleep?
Mm-hmm.
What do you like best about sleeping in your bed?
What's with my teddies to cuddle with?
You like to cuddle with the teddies?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What's the Sierra right there?
What is that?
Mm-hmm.
That's a telephone. That's where that's one of the programs that Daddy uses so people can call him later.
Hey, what is this?
That's nothing. That's nothing. No, that's nothing. No.
What the fuck was he talking
Okay. Those are all of my buttons. Try another. Yeah, that's just going to put Daddy on screen. Try another one.
It has begun.
That was Shang Tsung.
You sure about that? You sure about that? That's why?
Okay, what else? One more. One more, go ahead.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
Yeah, don't talk like Norm. That's Norm. Okay. Well, say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Okay. Say bye again.
Bye.
Okay, now bark like a dog.
Woof, woof.
Okay. Now quack like a duck.
Quack, quack.
Okay. Now moo like a cow.
Moo.
Okay. Now say something a camel would say.
Wah, wah.
That's what a camel sounds like?
Mm-hmm.
That's a weird camel.
Wah, 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 wah.
All right. See ya. Have a good night, Missy. And tell Mommy we all say hello. Okay. See you later.
See you later.
Okay. Take care. All right. So there she goes, off to have her evening. And we're able to do stuff like that when I don't have a guest. And but my guest is all of you. And I guess that's the first thing is, what the hell is coming our way? Because this is all very practical stuff. People in upstate New York that want to make sure that the mountain roads and things like that are all taken care of. But there are other things that people are really, they're being a little bit more vague about it. And they're official sources too. They're being very vague. I think they know all of their enemies are going to be casting all the same spells, and I think they're going to have to see whose juju is stronger. Anyway. All right, so you can call in on that. Sounds good to me. What else do we have here on the opening? Okay, here you go. Number one. Where is it? Here you go. Nice. If you watched certain YouTube videos, this is from Mashable. I can't believe Mashable is still around. If you watch certain YouTube videos, investigators demanded your data from Google. Oh, I can't imagine what my dossier looks like. Shared YouTube data prompts civil liberty worries. If you've ever jokingly wondered if your search or viewing history is going to put you on some kind of a list, your concern may be more than warranted. In a now unsealed court document reviewed by Forbes, Google was ordered to hand over names, addresses, telephone numbers, and user activity of YouTube accounts and IP addresses that watched select YouTube videos, part of a larger criminal investigation by federal investigators. The videos were sent by undercover police to a suspected cryptocurrency launderer under the username Elon Musk WHM. In conversations with the Bitcoin trader, investigators sent links to public YouTube tutorials on mapping via drones and augmented reality software, Forbes detailed. The videos were watched more than 30,000 times, presumably by thousands of users unrelated to the case. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't watch anything that had to do with that, but I watched far worse. In the eyes of the government, at least. So, I mean, this is just like, it's actually not welcome news to me to be like, oh, okay, well, I don't really go and take a look at stuff like this and all, whatever. Because that's actually child's play. So, all righty, there you go. The first one is there. The first one is gone. Privacy experts. Privacy experts. What the hell's a privacy expert, really? Here's one for you. Chicken's coming home to roost, but what if you don't know you're a chicken? California fast food chains slash workers as $20 an hour minimum wage looms. California restaurants are reportedly laying off staff and reducing hours for other team members in an effort to cut costs ahead of California state law taking effect on April 1st, April Fool's Day for a reason, that will raise fast food workers' hourly wages to $20. That's your starting. That's just crazy. That's just crazy. And what about the person who started there at $7.50 that just made it to 20? Are they going to get bumped to 40? What about them? The people who put in the time and just did their thing. In the months leading up to the wage mandate, California eateries, particularly pizza joints, have established a plan to cut jobs, according to state records obtained by the Wall Street Journal. Pizza Hut, Round Table Pizza, Menlo Park, California founded chain of 400 pizza parlors, mostly on the West Coast, have said they plan to lay off around 1,280 delivery drivers this year, according to records that major employers must submit to state before large layoffs. Delivery guys are going to go right out the window quickly, because what they'll do is they'll just kind of like probably just source Uber, I'd have to imagine. They just start, if they're going to have delivery, I have to imagine they're just going to use Uber a little bit more, and that way that they don't have to have anybody on the payroll. They have a plan to lay off there. Pizza Hut already sent notices to employees informing them of their last day. Oh boy. Oh boy. You know what it is? There was never any convincing the minimum wage people of the consequences of all this. You could go on and on and on about talking to them. And I'm not an economist. I'm not a very big financial guy, as you all know. But you don't need to be to understand supply and demand and freedom. You know, and what competition does and how it keeps, you know, prices, consumer prices depressed, and how it really puts value. It actually increases the value of what kind of work you're getting. And then, of course, there's reputations that goes along with the product quality, goes along with the customer service. Customer service is boosted by people who are happy to go to work and feel like they're appreciated. There's a lot of things that go on over there, and you take away all of those natural ways for a company to grow and for people to actually take some kind, you know, derive some kind of benefit from the growth of that company. When you put all of these restrictions on it and all these regulations on it that hamstring the company into doing anything, except, of course, firing people to try to keep overhead low. You know, just like with the Obamacare over the weekend, Barack Obama's Twitter account, I guess it was the anniversary of Obamacare being whatever. He's like, 10 years Obamacare, everybody. And of course, the one thing, you talk about memory hold items there. The one thing that nobody ever remembers about all that stuff is that, first of all, Obamacare was a lie, complete lie. It was there to just make things worse the way it is today. And I remember having a wonderful part-time insurance policy that I had as a personal trainer. I had a part-time insurance plan. You were able to do that stuff because you can make lesser plans, have people pick a la carte and put things together and whatever, because there was no mandates. You know, I didn't have, you know, until Obamacare, I didn't have to be mandated to have, you know, mammograms for me or something like that. You know, I didn't know that I was suffering on a civil rights basis because I wasn't covered for mammograms. And so he came in and destroyed all that. His team behind him came in and destroyed all that. People like Jonathan Gruber came in and destroyed all that. You remember that guy? I put this out on Saturday or something like that when I saw him doing a victory lap with this ridiculous thing. So, oh, it's not ridiculous. A lot of people got coverage because of that. Oh, I know. When you rob Peter to pay Paul, I'm sure you're going to have Paul saying glowing things about your medical welfare boondoggle. I'm sure Paul's going to love it. I'm sure. No doubt about it. But you guys remember Jonathan Gruber? This guy was memory hold quickly back then, prior to him exposing himself on like a college tour, like an MIT college tour or something like that. Everybody from Nancy Pelosi, whatever, called him like a whiz kid. He was an architect, one of the chief architects of Obamacare. Then, of course, Jonathan Gruber, this weaselly little four-eyed fuck, goes in front of a audience of people, very much like Joe Biden talking about the $1 billion bribery, arm twisting with the with Ukraine and all that stuff. Well, okay, the money walks. You do it. You fire this guy, and you can get your money. Same exact setting. Really was. It was incredible. And he said that they wrote Obamacare with tortured language. That's a quote. Tortured language. So that average Americans, who he called ignorant and stupid, which is actually I think a pretty decent assessment. But they wrote it in tortured language and allowed everything from there to just be a part of political tribalism and whatever. You'll never be able to see eye to eye with a Republican if you're a Democrat and vice versa and all that. But he even admitted it right there, that Americans, regardless of how they voted, would not have gone for this if they were told the truth about people who are young and healthy were going to be taken from to give to those who are old, sick, and of course it was going to explode costs. All of the promises that they sold it on were lies about liking doctors, keeping doctors, all lies. And but you that's all basics. That's basics. And you know what the basics about this is with minimum wage? Because they sell it to the same kind of person. They say you should be able to do everything you ever wanted to do in life by taking a couple of overnight shifts at McDonald's and whatever. You can't. They didn't want to hear it. First, they were encouraged to fight for the wage increases that would ultimately put them out of work, because that's what's going to be happening now. They will be slimmed down. Obviously, there's going to be some kind of a human element at these restaurants and stuff, but it's going to be slimmed down. And then I would have to imagine that all of the people who were once fighting for $20 an hour are going to then be picketing for universal basic income. That'll be the next thing. Because I think fewer and fewer actually want to work now anyway. I think fewer of these people actually really want to be at McDonald's or an In-N-Out burger for, $20 an hour. I think that it's just going to, the next step is going to be UBI. And it's all planned that way. Just like Obamacare, it was planned to be bad, to push us into another direction. It's all planned to make us destitute and, of course, to gaslight us into why things are so bad. So, California, $20 an hour. The true minimum wage is $0, my friends. All right, here's one last thing for you before we kick off tonight's show. Headline from the New York Post. A live 12-inch eel was removed from a Vietnamese man's abdomen after it slid up his anus. I'm just glad I'm not the only one that this has happened to. A Vietnamese man had a live eel surgically removed from his abdomen. The doctors believe it slid up his anus. The stomach-turning discovery made when an unidentified man, 34 years old, went to a Hai Ha District Medical Center in Quang Ninh province with severe abdominal pain on Wednesday, according to a local report. Doctors believe the sea creature entered the man's body through his anus and slid through his colon, according to Oddity Central. The eel was found after doctors performed an ultrasound and x-ray, which showed a foreign object was inside the man's digestive tract. This is a rare case, head of surgery Pham Mong Hong told a local outlet. The rectal area has a lot of fecal fluid and is easily infected with bacteria, but it was performed safely, so the surgery did not have any problems. Keep your buttholes tight tonight, ladies and gentlemen. You have no clue. No clue what's coming for you. All right, let's get this one started. I want to open up the lines as I want to see what's on the other side. We will be right back.
You live here? Yes. Well, maybe you know what a zombie is. When a person dies and is buried, it seems there's certain voodoo priests who have the power to bring him back to life.
Horrible.
It's worse than horrible because a zombie has no will of his own. You see them sometimes walking around blindly with dead eyes, following orders, not knowing what they do, not caring.
You mean like Democrats? you let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's ride!
Oh! I ruined it. What'd I hit? I gotta stop dancing over here is my problem. I get too dancy. Got ants in my pants. All right, so a few things that we're going to be doing. Number one, I just want to throw this number out there. 914-200-0269. The lines are open. Just now, you don't have all night. You don't have all night. Come in with a nice pitch, quick pitch, and if the story is intriguing, I will continue to ask follow-up questions. But other than that, it's really open lines, and I just want to know what the hell you guys and gals are seeing out there. I'll throw you a few things just for the hell of it. Number one, Puff Daddy. Uh-oh. It's happening. Diddy do it? Zero hedge. Sean Combs' home. His homes in L.A. and Miami simultaneously raided by Homeland Security. Two homes located in Los Angeles and Miami, owned by Sean Puff Daddy Combs, were raided by Homeland Security Monday in connection with a federal investigation into sex trafficking, sexual assault, and solicitation and distribution of illegal narcotics and firearms. In video circulating online, law enforcement officers can be seen walking through the LA home with guns drawn and people being questioned in front of the home. It is unknown if Diddy, 54, was one of them. Here's a little bit of it. Let's go forward a little bit. Yeah. So, I mean, I've seen these things getting around a little bit more, and hell, I don't know. The real question here is, again, when it comes to what we were talking about and how this really shaped up, it seemed like this is all very impossible to do without a very, very powerful network, again, helping you, almost like a Jeffrey Epstein situation. So, has he been cut off? What does he do now? I wonder if he's willing to go down alone. Is he really going to be isolated? Is he going to allow that? What could it be possible that it really was just about one man who was able to accrue so much power? Is it possible? I don't think so. But then again, Harvey Weinstein is still locked up. I guess that's just shut up, Harvey, and do your time. People ultimately don't want to die. The LA raid took place in his lavish Holmby Hills neighborhood. Sources confirmed to TMZ that Homeland Security was in the middle or raiding the musician's properties. Combs has been accused of several crimes, including one lodged by an anonymous woman who claims that he and two friends sexually assaulted her when she was 17. Combs has fired a motion to have the case thrown out. 3 other women have accused Combs of sexual assault. We did this before. That's the Cassie situation. I wonder if they're going to talk about Jonathan Odie. No Jonathan Odie in here? Nope. That's the more important thing. Well, it happened. That's all I wanted to bring up because we covered this a couple of Fridays ago. It has happened. So, what do you want from me? What the hell? Where do I turn this off? There you go. What do you want from me? Let's take a call from Spain. What's going on in Spain? You're the first one up tonight.
Hi.
I just sorry. I just called to tell my story.
Go ahead, tell us your story.
All right. I just recently happened, in Russia, and I want to tell that I've been at school with some Putin's nephews, and when I went abroad to work, I had problems. I had people exhorting me and not letting me have a life, have a work. And when I see what's happening now, I remember these people, this deep state is going after this guy.
Okay, so wait.
He's
now,
doing things.
hold on.
Yeah,
just because I want to make sure that we're on the same page. So you said that when you went to school, you knew a couple of Putin's nephews.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you said that when you were studying abroad, people were trying to extort you.
Well, it just happened that I met one of those nephews years later, and some people found out that she was at school with me, so we knew each other.
Mm-hmm.
And well, after that, I had many things happening to me. At first, I didn't realize it was weird, but later on, there were too many things.
So you're saying you're saying that because of your friendship with anybody related to Putin, it caused you trouble down the line?
Well, it wasn't even friendship.
Okay.
We knew each other for many years, but not as a friendship, as a classmate, let's say. Not even that, because we were in the same class.
And how did this now? So then, what kind of perspective does this give you for what's going on right now? When you see what's going on in the world right now, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
What do you think with all this personal background that you have? What do you feel about things right now?
Well, I think that these people, this deep state, is to call some way. It's going after this guy.
Okay.
They don't like him, and I see many things that happen to me that tell me how these people are, and for me it makes sense that this guy should be doing something right, and that's why they don't like him.
Did you ever feel like your life was in danger, or did they do other annoying things like mess with your travel visa or something like what was the extent of the problems you were given?
Was more economical.
Okay.
Because I never felt really that my life was in danger. I didn't feel that.
Okay.
I felt it's really annoying. It was really annoying. Yeah, that's will be the appropriate term.
Well, I know it must be late at night over there in Spain, and I'm really happy that you called in. I'm glad you were the first call tonight. This is your first call, right? Ever, right?
Yeah, it's my first call.
And what's your name? Well, first name or nickname?
My name is Pablo.
Pablo. Okay. Well,
I have 2 names, Pablo and Alexander.
Well, it's great to meet you, Pablo, and I hope you call in again soon. It's wonderful to have somebody from across the pond jump on first.
Okay. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. There you go. Pablo from Spain. Not necessarily friends with the Putin family, but brushing shoulders, acquaintances out there in the world, and even that, he suspects, caused him problems down the line. That was an interesting way of kicking things off here tonight. Here's a little bit from the Daily Mail. Putin scrambles to save face, See this though. Here's another one of those headlines. Putin scrambling to save face after ignoring U.S. warning of ISIS attack. I do not believe. Listen, I have no inside information, and neither do you. Most of you, at least. There is nothing inside of me that believes that the United States was giving Putin all the information he needed to be prepared for an attack or any kind of an act of violence like this, and Putin had just ignored it, and now he's scrambling to save face. That the U.S. was actually on his side. I believe that. I believe that this is all nonsense. This is all this perspective. I don't buy for a second. I couldn't tell you the inner workings of it, but that I don't buy. 2 of 4 suspects plead guilty in court after genital electrocution torture, and one being forced to eat his own ear. This is what I'm talking about. This guy's having his balls zapped. Oh, man, they are all in bad shape. Bad shape. Let's take a call from Jim. How you doing, Jim?
Hey, Frank, how we doing?
It's Jim Zell. It's good to hear from you, buddy.
Hey, glad that you can get me on here. It's open lines, right?
I have open lines. Go ahead.
Open lines. You were talking a couple of nights ago regarding the Tsarnaev brothers, the Boston bombing.
Yeah.
And I thought one thing that kind of got memory hold real quick was Graham Fuller, who was the father-in-law to Ruslan Tsarnaev, which was the uncle of the brothers. And they met with him about 2 weeks before the bombings. And Graham Fuller was a operations officer for the CIA for 20 years. And he was operating around the North Caucasus area, the Caucasus. And that was his primary area of expertise. And Ruslan Tsarnaev was actually living in Graham Fuller's house for a time. And the two brothers, were connected to Ruslan. They had a relationship with him. Are you telling me, it sounds like that guy was a handler for those two? Anyway, that to me got memory hold real quick, that the Tsarnaev brothers' uncle was, living with the, a CIA operative, and it was just very unusual.
Yeah.
And then, so that's one aspect to it.
I wish you had gotten through on Friday night with that, because, that it is interesting, because I did say there was no, I felt like, there's definitely a lot of questions, and there was a lot of big things that happened as a result of the Boston Marathon bombing, but I didn't feel like the bombing itself was memory hold. That stuck around for a long time. And the bombing was not, but the CIA connection to it wasn't. Yeah. That's what I wish I had that on. But hey, we have it now. What else you got, Jim?
No, I just one more thing with that, and this is also bringing in Russia into it. Russia was tracking one of the older Tsarnaev brother when he went to Chechnya, and they were keeping an eye on him, and they even called and got in touch with our intelligence community and said, hey, we've been tracking this guy over here. He's standing out. He's up to something. He's been radicalized. You guys better do something about it. Keep an eye on him. And we ignored it. And that was Russia, giving us the best intelligence that they had to prevent something happening. And whether or not we gave our full disclosure of full intelligence to them regarding what just happened over there, that's another story.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. This whole, the way that the Daily Mail, at least, has packaged this as Vladimir Putin is now scrambling to save face because the United States gave him information about ISIS. The fact that we're talking about ISIS again, that culprit is so pathetic. It just sounds pathetic to me at this point, because it's just been obsolete as far as the news goes. And of course it has to be anything other than Ukraine. It's just incredible that, of course, we knew right off the bat.
It's just like the standout villain, right? That's been around, Al Qaeda, ISIS. There's the villain that you can pin everything on. Not to mention that ISIS, we pretty much created that.
Yeah.
That's another story altogether. But no, these guys weren't. At first glance, when you see what happened, you can say, all right, maybe it's the Czech. My first thought was it's Chechens. Because, you had the Beslan school tragedy, you had the movie theater incident in Russia, but usually there's hostage taking involved, and these guys usually don't survive. There's firefights, they get killed in it, they give their lives for it. These guys did not. And, my brother brought up a good point when we were talking about it. As soon as the news broke regarding the shooting, it was almost like breaking news. We don't know what's going on in Russia. And then all of a sudden, Zelensky's yelling, we didn't do it. There wasn't even news of what really happened. And we're already claiming, no, Zelensky had nothing to do with that.
Right.
Had nothing to do with it.
Well, listen here.
There's a quote.
No, go ahead, quote. And then I want to read you something. Go ahead.
Yeah. There's a quote from General Milley, I believe his name is, in 2023 that talked about that it may not be in full context, but I think the understanding is there when he said, no Russian should, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the quote in front of me, but no Russian should go to sleep at night without the fear of having their throats slit, because we need the special operations needs to take the campaign into their backyard. That's a paraphrase. Basically, they want, basically calling for a guerrilla campaign of terror in Russia because they can't beat them numerically, right? The only reason Ukraine's surviving is because they're getting support from outside nations. They can't beat them militarily. They don't have the munitions for it. But what can they do? Start a terror campaign in Russia, to try to unstabilize.
Well,
go ahead, Frank.
Did you here's one thing I'll leave you with, and I want some, obviously a response. Foreign, I think it's Maria Zakharova. What is she, a foreign affairs minister or something like that out there? She said this. She said this on her Telegram over the weekend. She said, official spokesperson of the U.S. National Security Council, Adrian Watson, says Ukraine is not involved in the terrorist attack. The banned ISIS is blamed for everything. If they only could figure out the assassination of their own President Kennedy so quickly, but no, over the 60 years, they can't still determine who actually killed him. Maybe it was also ISIS. Or will they keep dragging it out for another 60 years, playing into any constructive ambiguity? Let's take the terrorist attack on the Nord Stream. According to the U.S. and the New York Times cited comments from officials, Ukrainians were involved. However, later, American authorities went silent. So they're still rummaging around there looking for either Kiev or ISIS divers. Not a single word urging Denmark or Sweden to cease their search for the guilty parties from Washington has been uttered. And Russia's proposal for a UN-led invasion was blocked by Anglo-Saxons at the Security Council. All of this suggests that the political elites of the U.S. have become adept over the decades at skillfully diverting attention from high-profile crimes and various staging. Therefore, until the investigation into the terrorist attack at Crocus City Hall is completed, any statement from Washington justifying Kiev should be considered as evidence. After all, the financing of terrorist activities by the Kiev organized crime group by American liberal Democrats and involvement in corruption schemes by the Biden family have been going on for many years, end quote.
Sure, by all means, let's trust our statements to what really happened, in this situation. It's, all evidence. They're going to take those 4 shooters and they're going to extract, and like a wet towel, they're going to wring out every bit of information before they put a bullet in the back of their heads. And they're going to know exactly who did what, because those people are going to, they're already torturing them. I mean, they're not going to play games.
Yeah.
So they're going to find out who exactly the players were in this. And of course, when Russia, states that, the Ukrainians were involved, that there was a USA connection, of course, everyone's going to say Putin's a madman. Putin's just doing this. It's a farce. No, they're going to extract all the information because they have the guys that did it.
Well,
And
it's
it's clearly a Ukrainian connection to me now. There's no doubt.
I'm just gonna wait a little bit longer and see what the hell happens. But I don't know. Between this and the eclipse, Jim, who the hell knows? All right. Well, thanks for
Frank, I write and just with the eclipse, I'm writing the cone there for the totality for the eclipse.
It hooks up
here in northern Maine.
It hooks up into Maine.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
one of the towns right below me, Holton, is already booked solid. People are renting out their driveways to people that are traveling from all over the country and the world.
Damn.
People they follow this stuff.
You got to send.
And they're expecting thousands.
You got to send me some video footage. You got to do it.
If not, I can send you a shirt that we have up here for the eclipse.
Okay.
I'll send you one.
Yeah, please. Yeah, do that. I'll wear
the sun, the moon, the boo, and you. 2024.
Send it. I'll wear it on air the next day.
Okay, I'll get you one.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, Frank. Have a good one.
There you go. So a little bit there, a little bit of memory hold from the Boston Marathon bombing, and then this other thing. Let's see here. Let's take another call. All right, caller, you are on the air.
Hey, Frank. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. Who's this?
This is John from Collier County, Naples, Florida. How are you?
John, it's great to have you on. Yeah, I've gotten an email before from you. What now? This might be a really interesting topic then. What did you want to bring to the table tonight?
Well, I don't think I could beat anal eel, but I will do the best I can.
Go ahead, give it your shot.
All right. Well, my story starts at Halloween of last year. My wife and I dressed up as Johnny Castle and Dave from Dirty Dancing, and a friend of mine plays at a party we go to every year. So it was a great setup to, play the best time of my life. And, we get to act out the dance. Well, 51 at the time was probably not the smartest thing to try to act like Patrick Swayze in his prime.
Right.
And I was just completely worn out. I could barely walk for like weeks, And about 2 weeks later, my legs started hurting. And I just figured it's an injury. I did it at the same time. I got a cane. I was hobbling around. About 2 weeks of hobbling around, I get home. I decide, I'm just going to go take a couple of hits off a cigarette. And immediately, the pain in my leg disappears, and I can't breathe. Instantly. It was like out of freaking nowhere, right? And, I'm a little bit scared. So I go inside. I'm like, okay, this hurts really bad. I'll try a shot of whiskey. I throw that up immediately. I'm like, okay, my wife started to freak out. I'm like, I just need to lay down. Maybe I'll feel better tomorrow. As soon as I lay down, I can't even breathe at all.
Oh shit!
I'm like, you got to take me to the hospital now. So she rushes me to an ER that's close to us, like a remote ER, not attached to the hospital. And I can't really remember much from that point to the hospital. Like it was just an in and out, just like a blackout and then back in, blackout, back in. I get to the hospital and there's a line there. I do remember that. And everybody in the line looks back. They're like, what's wrong with him? And my wife's like, he can't breathe. Oh, and they're all like, well, by all means, let this guy go first. And they rush me into a room, and I'm surrounded by 3 or 4 nurses with, taking blood pressure, taking all sorts of, vitals and hooking me up to all the heart, all the equipment they use to monitor your heart and, your breathing. They put me up to oxygen.
Okay.
So asking me questions.
I'm only because we only have about 10 minutes before the top of the hour. I want to make sure that everything is in before the intermission. So you're in bad shape right here. You can't breathe. You're in and out of consciousness. Let's get to the point where they start getting a handle on what exactly is wrong.
All right. Well, they brought in a portable X-ray machine, and my wife happened to be sitting behind him and look at it. And she's like, oh my God, what are all those things? And they immediately, pushed her aside, took the equipment away, and like, you're not supposed to see this. She came in and she goes, you've got like 6 dots on your right lung and 2 dots on your left lung. And I'm sitting up, just trying to get any oxygen I possibly can. Eventually the doctor, comes around and says, hey, I think you have a PE attack, and I want to put you on blood thinners immediately. I don't have the results back, but if I have permission, I think this is a smart preemptive action. And I'm just like, fine, whatever. I don't know.
Are you saying that you had blood clots in your lungs?
That's what ended up being later on. They ended up determining that, in the fact that he said that ahead of time is which I think was a very part that really helped me actually survive through the whole thing. So it's a PE, it's a pulmonary embolism, what it's called. And so they asked me about different medications, pain medications. I'm not a fan of pain medication at all. I take this shot that's super duper anti-inflammatory. It allows me to breathe in about 20 minutes, maybe 15, 20 minutes, something like that. And I could finally not be tense.
Okay. So
kind of talk in between breaths. Okay.
So let's get to the next phase of this then. Where do you, how do you get out of the hospital? When are you good enough to leave? And what's the hook here? Because a lot of people go to the hospital for a variety of reasons. Some are serious. Some end up being a little bit more routine than others, but this has to have a big crescendo here.
Well, the RN there goes, you're a really lucky guy. We're actually going to, submit you to the hospital at this point in time. So they transfer me to the hospital. I get set in a room. I have several other attacks while I'm at the hospital. Eventually they stabilized me. I had outrageous blood pressure, like 250 over 150.
Okay.
And they put me on blood pressure medication to bring me down, blah, blah, blah. So I was in the hospital for about 5 days, somewhere around there. Eventually I stabilized, right? In between that time, they run like 200 tests on me. They drew blood. It was like every couple of hours.
John, I'm so sorry. We got to get to a point here. Like what? So I know you're in bad shape. You're in there for about a week now, but what is it? Where did the blood clots come from? Did you take any shots recently? What was it?
All right. So eventually they did a ultrasound on my leg, and they found a clot that was about 18 inches long from the center of my thigh and the inner of my right leg down to just past my calf.
Jeez.
And I know, and I was never vaxxed, not willingly at least. And I know that's indicative of someone who has been vaccinated. Yeah. And so that was just kind of caught me off guard. Like it was just really, really strange. And at the end of the hospital is the fact that they ran every test. I was completely healthy everywhere. They had no explanation of why the thing was in my leg at all. And they let me go with the notion of like, well, sometimes we just don't have an answer,
Oh yeah. I love that. We've gotten a lot of that over the years. Yeah. Okay.
So
you got,
they put me on.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead. What, you had a question?
No, yeah. I was going to say, so at this point, 18-inch blood clot, right leg. They have you on blood thinners. Now it's time to cast off. What is your big takeaway from all this stuff? Because it can't just be that you're calling in to say I had an 18-inch blood clot and I don't know why. There had to. What else? What we got here?
Well, what ended up happening when I went home is I started having night terrors, like very serious night terrors, not just small, like I would be in the middle of a dream. It would be extremely graphic. I would visualize everything as if I was awake. I would then wake up recognizing I'm in my room and these night terrors were still there, like in my room. And I'm like racing around the room trying to get away from whatever creature was there. Some of them were small, little, others were like big and cloudy. And this happened over and over again. It was it's quite terrifying.
So you're saying that you had an incident here where you had to be rushed to the hospital because you were just loaded with blood clots, and you have no reason. You have no reason, nothing, no real understanding of how that could have happened. You have not been part of any kind of medical experiments, anything like that. But in the week or so that you spent in the hospital, they dissolved it a little bit with blood thinners. They put you on your way, and then when you got home, this started turning into more of a psychosomatic, a metaphysical night terror entity haunting kind of a thing?
It did. 2 weeks after I had my checkup with my doctor, the first thing my primary doctor says to me is, "I can't believe I'm actually talking to you." And it never really hit me how severe everything was until she said that. She even said that, you're kind of like a famous person in the local medical world here. You're known as the PE guy, the pulmonary embolism guy. I was like, well, what do you mean? She's like, there's not a statistic of somebody surviving what you went through. Like, they weren't planning on you leaving the ER, let alone leaving the hospital, with no results or any understanding of why it even happened.
Do you have
It's
any?
like this.
So, do you have any new perspective on life since then? I mean, that has to be. Maybe this is a just something you can take away, and do you know all of your pipes are clean right now?
Well, they tested every organ in my body and all my blood work, and they said everything's fine, which was shocking to me because I'm now 52 years old. Usually, there's something wrong with somebody as you get older. You know what I mean? And there wasn't any. The one thing I did notice is my connection with God was lessened. Dramatically. Like, I used to wake up in the morning, "Good morning, God, how are you doing?" Blah, 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 blah. And that all went away after I got back from the hospital.
You would think that it would be the opposite. Thank you. How the hell am I still here? And every day feels like a gift. You feel like your connection, when you had gotten back, your connection to God was almost severed. You feel like it was that badly damaged?
I believe it was absolutely severed.
Jeez. Yeah. And do you think it has something to do with the night terrors? Do you think that demonic forces put the clot inside of you?
I believe that there's a war against good and evil, right? I don't believe I'm in the middle of it. I believe that maybe I'm on the outskirts of it or something. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a medical doctor. I just know that I had a very strong spiritual grounding, and I didn't after that. Like, it just completely disappeared. And it wasn't like I wasn't trying, I wasn't trying to do the same prayers or anything else. Along with that, there was a lot of empathy that went away too. It's like I could laugh at a joke, but I didn't laugh inside. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, when you really feel an emotion, it's like inside you. You can just go, ha, 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 ha. That was funny, because it was funny, but to actually feel the funniness is a different story. Like sadness.
So once again, when did this happen?
This was last November.
So November 2023?
Mm-hmm.
So in the last 5-6 months or so, you feel like you have almost been emotionally deadened inside because of this stay at the hospital and the clot and being that close to death?
It's not that I feel like I don't have emotions. It just doesn't feel like I have emotions. Like, I know I still care. I know I still love. I know that I still enjoy food and life, but it's not the same as what it was before. What is it?
Do you think? What kind of luster has been lost? Because, like I said, most people would come out of a position where you're in, and it's almost like that scene in Fight Club where the day after you had a gun to your head, your breakfast never tasted better in your life. You don't take any of the little things for granted anymore. You really savor things. So that is what is really confounding to me, is how you can go through what you did right there. Have you been seeking any kind of spiritual counsel? Are you? I mean,
I joined a Catholic group. There's an app called Exodus 90. It's a men's spiritual path it's developed through studying the book of Exodus. It comes with a lot of fasting and a lot of prayer and a lot of it's basically designed to bring back the male spiritual warrior, and I heard that on a commercial of another podcast that I was listening to, and I'm like, well, that sounds interesting, why not try it? And it made me have a better understanding of prayer. And through that, I never really understood the Our Father without going through that group, the prayer, the Our Father prayer, until then, which was just, several months ago, very recently. I'm in my 50s. I've been Catholic my whole life. I haven't been devout, but I've been pretty good.
Well, John, I gotta say, and I have to keep interjecting here, but we're up against the intermission now. I will leave you with this. There's a couple of people in the Gilded chat alone who here's one from Black Orchid said, "This sounds a lot like post-traumatic stress of what you're going through. My friend had PTSD from being in septic shock and nearly dying. Have you considered that perhaps this isn't your connection to, because you're not just talking about God here, you're talking about basic enjoyment of life. It sounds like you came back from a war zone, and I don't know, maybe it's just something around there to look into. Have you spoken to any kind of a medical professional you trust that isn't I don't know, someone you can talk to?
No, I totally understand what he's going with that, but I didn't come near to death. I survived something that most people can't survive, but I wasn't ever close to death. Like it was traumatic in the fact I couldn't breathe, blah, blah, blah. But I've had injuries, sports injuries, and just being stupid teenager injuries that were just as traumatic.
Well,
I didn't lose any of that.
Well, John, this is it's certainly an intense story, and I'm glad that you called in with this. We'll see how that invokes some calls in the second half, because that's really the main. That's really the real benefit of getting these calls in. There's somebody else out there who's probably gone through similar, or maybe has a little bit of experience in that, and if that doesn't happen, I'm sure to get an email. But thank you for the call. If there's real quick, go ahead.
If I could just say one thing real fast,
very quick.
What I was trying to say before is that I didn't have an understanding of the Our Father until recently, and that prayer keeps those night terrors away. If I wake up and I say that prayer, it's gone immediately. So there's a power in that prayer I never knew prior, but it does work. And it's one thing I did take away from the whole thing. Well,
if this was just back in November, and that's one thing that you have used to your advantage, then perhaps that is that's a very reliable tool in your war chest here as you put the pieces back together. Because hey, people go through traumatic experiences. It could be a car crash, or it could be what you just did. No matter what, there's a lot of rebuilding, and it sounds like yours is going to be a little bit more on the emotional and spiritual side. But please keep us updated, because that's incredible and pretty frightening too, that it can come out of nowhere, and of course no explanations. But thank you, John.
Thank you, Frank. You got a great show, and watch out for those eels.
No, I know. Watch out for the eels. My gosh. The fact that he didn't take any drugs. A week. It does. Now, I can't diagnose any of that stuff, but people out there, like what we have some people in the Gilded right here who have a little bit of experience. Could it be PTSD? You guys and gals tell me that. We're going to be taking more calls on the other end of the intermission. That's going to be on quitefrankly.tv and pill.net. Thanks again to everybody at pill.net. My good friend Matt there. It's I see all the craziness going on with other networks and other little things, and everybody's jumping. There's just so much drama out there, and no matter what, so happy that we got good friends that have absolutely no hang-ups with freedom of speech and everything else. It's great to have them at a phone call away and really good friends. Thank you all so much. And I will see you on the other side of the intermission. Remember, book club starts at 9 o'clock. If you are a monthly subscribers, and then you have received your link either through email or posted on Patreon, posted on Subscribestar, or posted right in your DMs, right in your direct messages on pill.net. So go ahead and check it out. Thank you, guys. We will be right back.
The rest of the show is available exclusively at pill.net. Follow the link in the description of the episode, get signed up, it's that easy. Or head on over to quitefrankly.tv, just press play. No paywalls, no censorship, no strings attached. So head on over, quitefrankly.tv, powered by Foxhole, and pill.net.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out to press the like button. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to intermission.
We'll be right back.
Yeah, intermission. Yeah, intermission.
We're now entering